things that I wanted to get to. Number one, I wanted to get to the Jet game yesterday. Very good win by them. I mean, really a tremendous performance. I mean, this doesn't say much for the Kansas City defense, but the Jets finally in the fourth quarter coming through. Tremendous performance for their offense. If you were wondering about the offense, I mean, what a performance. Almost 500 yards. Kept the ball the entire game. Obviously, the defense gave up some very big plays. I mean, they didn't cover Kelsey. I'll tell you this. Tyreek Hill got behind guys where if Smith had hit him, he would have had not two, he would have had at least 4 touchdowns. There were 2 times he actually was shaking his head because the ball was so badly underthrown. I mean, he gets by the guys every single time. Those weapons are unbelievable. Kelsey was running free. Smith obviously had the 70-yard run. So the defense had their hands full. But the offense just completely dominated the game and did an incredible job. Kept the ball the entire game, 43 minutes of possession, 13 of 20 first downs, no turnovers, fourth down conversions, great catches, big plays, and then the embarrassing end of the game for Kansas City, where not once but twice they gave the Jets life with the penalties, and then what Peters did, and laughing about it. As Andy Reid lost control of his team, or what is Peters doing at the end of that game? I mean, that is a mess. That Kansas City thing is ugly, but it's not about them right now. It's about what the Jets built yesterday. And you know what there was? There was life. There was fun in that building. There was life in that building. And you had to love what you saw from that team yesterday as they put up the points they needed in the fourth quarter, do what they had to do. And tremendous job. And they've got the right guy with McCagnon. Bowles and McCagnon go forward together. They just have to build with the quarter. They got to get the right quarterback. If they do that, they are building the infrastructure. They are building what they need to build. You got to like what they've done. Yes, they've messed some games up in the fourth quarter. Yes, they should have beaten Carolina last week. They should have beaten Miami earlier in the season. They could have beaten Atlanta. They could have beaten New England. But you know what? They won yesterday, and they were impressive doing it, and it was fun. It was a lively place. It was a lively crowd. It was a good win for them every way around. Anyway, now they go out to Denver with a great chance to win against a Denver team that's out of it. So you know what? They're having a fun season. Good for them. And for once, they're not the chaotic team in town. They're the stable guys in town, and they're building something. So if you're Jet fans, you know what? You're the stable group right now. For once, you're the stable group in town. You got the stable general manager. You got the guys in place, and you can start to build. You just got to find that quarterback, and I don't believe he's on the roster. And right now, McCown plays. Around the league, I thought Seattle would win last night. They did. Now Philly has to come back next week, and I told you this, and I'll stand by my prediction. I told you yesterday that if Minnesota, and I picked Atlanta to win that game yesterday. It's the one game I got wrong. I told you yesterday that if Minnesota won that game, they would play in the NFC title game. And I stand by that. I believe they will play in the NFC title game this year. And I think they have a very good chance to go to the Super Bowl with that team this year. That was a great win for them. They're getting better. They're getting more confident. They're building something. That was a bad loss for the Falcons. And you Cowboy fans, they had to love that because that loss kept the Cowboys alive, that Falcon loss. Because Seattle won last night, the Falcon loss, and Falcons have a brutal schedule the rest of the way. That's the way in for you if you're a Cowboy, is through the Falcon way, is the way in. I mean, you still got to deal with Carolina and Seattle. No question about it. You're going to have to run the table to have any chance. But at least you're alive as you come to the Meadowlands this week to play. So that was a very, very big win. But Bengals try to get to 6-6 tonight. Ravens won yesterday, playing better. Pats embarrassed the Bills, and Taylor got hurt. Gronkowski is suspended a week. Pats are at the Dolphins. Then they have the big game, the epic game with the Steelers. Steelers have the Ravens this week after the Bengals tonight. Watch tonight. I think the Bengals could beat them tonight. I picked the Bengals. This is my 4th game tonight. I'm 2-1 tonight this week, and I'm picking the Bengals tonight as one of my picks this week. Chargers should have put up another 20 points. They didn't. They moved the ball all day and then could bog down in the red zone every time and win that game 19-10. They should have won it a lot more one-sided than that. Chiefs, who have the Raiders this week, are in trouble. Raiders won against the Giants, but they weren't impressive. And Packers are going to get Rodgers back. I don't think they're going to get to the playoffs, but you know what? He's still going to try and play this year, although I don't know if I'd bring him back if I lost any more games. If not, maybe I would. But that's the NFL as we get ready for Bengal game tonight. Now, did they make a mistake? The answer is in this graphic. The favorite right now, today, to win college football's Final Four is what team? Alabama. That's all you need to know. The favorite to win it all is not Clemson. It's not Oklahoma. It's not Georgia. It's Alabama. So if the team that is favored to win the whole thing was left out, how could you say they made the right decision? I understand what they did for conference play, but you know what? Ohio State should not have lost to Iowa. That game killed them. And although a lot of people thought when Auburn lost it was going to kill Alabama, and it could have, and it made it more close, I really believe that. It made it closer. But to me, they made the right move. Oklahoma deserved to go. Georgia, of course, was going once they decided to beat Auburn. Clemson, obviously, if they won and we thought they'd win easy, and they did against Miami. And Alabama. And I think Clemson has a great chance to win it all. I think they might be the best team. But Alabama deserves to be there. They'll be favored in every game. That's who they are. So that's the foursome right now. Alabama deserved it. And right now, the two best teams, interestingly, are going to square off. Because, believe it or not, Alabama got in, and where they're seated, it's wrong, because here's why it's wrong. Clemson was ranked at top. We know that. But Alabama is favored against Clemson. So it shows you right now they put the wrong teams. They should have put Oklahoma with Clemson. Oklahoma with Georgia. Clemson with Georgia and Oklahoma with Alabama. So they should have done. Clemson should have played Georgia, and Oklahoma should have played Alabama. But right now we have the two best teams actually squaring off in the first game, which is Alabama and Clemson. In the first round game. The first game chronologically will be Oklahoma and Georgia in the Rose Bowl. The second game will be Alabama and Clemson. That game will be for the national championship, I believe. Oklahoma's a 1-point favorite over Georgia. Alabama's a 1.5-point favorite over Clemson. Alabama's favored to win it all, and they deserve to go over Ohio State, which wasn't overly impressive against Wisconsin, but that's not the point. They lost twice. And that loss to Iowa killed them. Absolutely killed them. And listen, I'm sure Ohio State's not thrilled today. I'm sure they're not thrilled that they get a Big Ten team in. I'm sure they're talking about conference championships and the idea of the SEC sending two teams, and what that means this year. The league wasn't strong enough to send two teams. The three best teams in the country all year in college football were Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia. They were the three best teams. Auburn jumped up and bit a couple of people late, but the three best teams were Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia, and they're all in the Final Four. Sprinkle in the Heisman Trophy winner with Oklahoma, and you got the foursome. And Oklahoma beat Ohio State, so no complaint there. So Alabama is favored to win it all and favored against the number one team, so it tells you they belong there. Good job by the committee to pick Alabama. Absolutely the right call, without any question. Adam in Oceanside. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Mike. Good afternoon. I have a question about the college football playoff.
Good.
And you might have said this over the years, but I'm not sure I understand why it is now. Why does the FBS have a full playoff system and the FCS doesn't? They're all universities. They all have final exams and all that stuff. So why does the lower division have playoffs?
To protect the bowl games.
That's the only reason?
They don't want to destroy the bowl games. These teams all play bowl games. They don't want to destroy these bowl games. The playoffs would completely destroy the bowl games, and they don't want to do that. The bowls have been very good partners to them, so they want to partner with the bowls, which is why they don't destroy the bowls. That is the answer.
Okay, thank you.
That's the answer in a nutshell, and it's completely the reason why. The Bulls have been very good to them for a very long time, and they don't want to hurt the bowl games. That's why they incorporate these games into the bowl games. And that's why this year, when the granddaddy of them all has a game like this, the games get moved to the right place. That's where you want these games on New Year's. That's exactly where you want them. That's where they always should be. Justin in Jersey, what's up, Justin?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good.
I just want to talk about, John Mara and Eli and McAdoo, that whole situation. Now McAdoo's gone. But you think that Mara should have done it earlier, preserving Eli's streak and everything?
No, listen, I think, you know what, it happened. You want him to overrule him? I don't think he had listen, it worked out the way it worked out. Ira in Staten Island, who should be very happy with his Jets right now after a good day yesterday. What's up, Ira?
Hey, Mike, what's happening? Yeah, you said it all. It was a lot of fun out there, good atmosphere out there yesterday. And you know what? In the past, we would have lost the game that yesterday. Now, I know we got help with the Chiefs and had a meltdown with all the penalties. I get it. But you know what? We matched them point for point. And you know what? I really, you look at McCown, he's so perfect to bring back if they're going to go in the direction of drafting somebody next year. He's the perfect guy to mentor a young quarterback next year. And look at the receiving core. Look at that trade McCagnon made for Curse. Look how great this had turned out to be. I mean, Curse and Anderson combined, they have like 100 catches and 1,500 yards and about 12 or 13 touchdowns. Nobody would have ever dreamt of this over the summer. So, everything's really falling into place. And you're right. They just keep the course, let them keep on building, find the quarterback, and we're going to be in really good shape.
They're really in a good place. They got the right guys. They got the right guy running the franchise. I think Bowles is keeper, build with continuity, and go forward here. McCagnon is the leader you've been looking for a while with this team. He's the right guy at the right time. Rob in Freehold, what's up, Rob?
Hey, Mike, long-time listener, first-time caller. I just want to thank you for 30 years. It's been really a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I actually got to shake your hand yesterday on the field. At the Jet game. It was great to see you. I just want to talk about the Giants. I think Mara heard the fans speak last week, and you were a big part of that. I mean, they didn't want to hear that Eli was being benched and the way he was being benched and how the whole organization from top to bottom kind of screwed it up. And it just stinks for Eli because, like you said, he's probably going to start on Sunday to see his streak end like it did. But hopefully going forward, if they bring a new regime in, they see a lot of value with Eli to mentor, any kind of quarterback they bring in, either whether it's Webb or somebody they draft in the upcoming draft.
But listen, go ahead.
Would you ever replay the George Steinbrenner interviews? Because those were the classic radio.
I'm sure you can get them somewhere on there. I'm sure they have them. Joe in Brooklyn, what's up, Joe?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good. What's up?
College football question. Just wanted to thank you for taking my calls through the years.
Thank you. No problem. What's up?
Ohio State. Yourself and a lot of people are talking about the loss to Iowa as the reason, which I somewhat agree. But I always thought that the games they played afterwards gave them ample time to make up for it. Meaning the losses to Michigan, the wins in Michigan and Wisconsin, if they were to better wins, more of a blowout. I think they
just weren't big enough opponents. You know what? Those teams weren't good enough. They weren't good enough to overcome the Iowa loss. The game against Michigan wasn't good enough for it to be a factor. And the same thing, it wasn't good enough to win against Wisconsin. Wisconsin wasn't considered a team that was held in enough high esteem. It really wasn't. That really hurt them. There's no question about it. Hurt them a lot. So I think Alabama absolutely deserved it. I think the fact that they won the way they did. The way they show what kind of team they are in terms of what the odds show, and I think it just backs up them putting them in. They're the number one team. They're still favored to win it all. Clearly, I think everyone knows Alabama was the number one team. I think they recognize that. And to me, that says a lot. And it's the right move. It really is. The only thing wrong with it, I think, is that Alabama and Clemson are playing in the first round because I think they're the two best teams. So I think other than that, I think that's the one you'd like to have back, that they were playing each other. But you'd rather have Alabama there than not, because to me, you would have lessened the national championship if you didn't have Alabama in it because Alabama is the best team, and beating Alabama is the right way to go. If you can beat Alabama, you deserve to go to win it. And Georgia did what they had to do on the field. Oklahoma did what they had to do on the field. Plus, they won at Ohio State, and I don't think Ohio State has any gripes. I really don't. I think the way it worked out is absolutely fine. I think there's no problem with it at all. And see, I don't think anybody can complain about Alabama being there. They've been the best team in college football for so long that I just think it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't hurt anybody them being there. Now, I know people are going to complain about, they weren't a conference championship. You took 2 teams out of the SEC. The SEC wasn't that good this year. Fine. To me, the 3 best teams in the league this year, the 3 best teams in college football this year were Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia, and they're all in the Final Four, as is Oklahoma. To me, that means you got it right. 4 o'clock,